à un autre moment. So remember that you're being all filmed and taped, and put on your best smile, and remember that it's available on YouTube tonight or in the future. Donc, avant qu'on ouvre la séance, que je n'ai même pas parti mon portable, on va prendre un moment de silence, s'il vous plaît. Si vous pouvez enlever vos casquettes, s'il vous plaît. Merci beaucoup à tous. Let's get this thing a little closer. Et voilà. Donc, ça va prendre un vote pour l'ouverture de la séance. Madame Lachance?
Pour.
Pour. Et la séance est maintenant ouverte. Donc, période de questions. Le micro vous attend. Juste avant que vous commencez, c'est vrai, je voulais mentionner que ce soir, il va y avoir une nouvelle procédure suite à la période de questions des gens présents. Justement, vous allez avoir, commençant ce soir et dans le futur, il y a un projet pilote pour avoir des questions qui se posent en ligne. Donc, suite à la période de questions de ce soir, les élus vont être déposer des questions qui sont rentrées en ligne entre 6h30 et 16h30, je pense. 7h et 8h. Puis, suite à ce moment-là, la séance va être adjournée, is the term, Madame Reynaud? Adjourned?
Oui.
Donc, puis là, après 2, 3, 4 minutes, on va revenir avec les questions qui sont déposées par courriel. So just to let you know that there's a new procedure in place as of tonight. People will be able to ask questions online. So following the question period of the people present, we will adjourn for a few minutes, be given the questions that were sent online between 7 and 8 or whatever time we adjourn, and then answer some of those questions as well. Projet pilote, on essaie de quoi de nouveau? No change is boring. So, changement, c'est une bonne chose. Donc, première question.
Yes, Darren Edkovich. You need my address?
No, I know where you live.
Okay, perfect. I hope so.
I don't know.
So,
Monsieur Chartrand would like to know where you live.
Des Onset, sinking area.
I know where it is.
Okay, perfect. I was one of the lucky people who had my house sinking, and I was lucky enough to have to pay $60,000 to have it lifted. That doesn't include the cost for redoing the house, landscaping, redoing the basement, parging the house, paving the driveway, which is another $20,000. So basically an $80,000 cost. I was lucky enough that I was one of the people who applied, and we got $20,000 from Quebec for that. So I'm grateful for that part. But I'm still down $60,000, which is a huge amount of money for a house that's valued at about $350,000. So that being said, I'd like to know, out of the $200,000 that the city was giving for those homes, how many people actually applied for the credit in the last or the first year that was available?
Madame Reynaud, c'était quoi combien de gens ont participé au programme de subvention?
Je crois que c'est une quinzaine, mais c'est le service de l'urbanisme qui gère les demandes. Donc, on pourrait faire une vérification plus précise. Mais malheureusement, en tant que greffière, je ne gère pas les demandes.
Okay.
Like I mentioned to you before the meeting, I have 14 in mind.
Okay.
But I might be off.
Let's go to the full extent. Let's say it was 20 people who applied. That would have been the limit for how much money could have been given out that year, because at the cost of the house, maximum $20,000. It's basically 10 homes that can get that. Or sorry, not 20 homes. 10 homes can get that, because then the $200,000 would be exhausted after 10 people applied for it. That being said as well, let's assume that the average price of a home in Saint-Lazare is about $350,000, if I'm not mistaken, from what the city website showed. That means that taxes are about $3,000, which is what I pay for my home per year, which went up again this year, which is a whole different thing. Assuming that there are 20 people who apply for a credit, and assuming each home is at $3,000 in taxes, and knowing that the city budget is $31 million, if you give a tax break to those 20 people in 1 year, that only costs 0.2%. It's less than 0.2% of the city budget to give those people a tax break to help them at least live a little bit better than opening up a new mortgage and paying all these extra fees again. Even if you make it at 50 people, you're going to give a tax break at an average rate of $3,000. At that point, it only comes out to 0.5%. And again, it's a little bit less than 0.5% of the city budget of $31 million. So my question basically being is that for the city, at 0.2%, if you give a tax break to 20 people, or 0.5% if you give a tax break to 50 people, that's a drop in the bucket for the city. But for someone like me or anyone else, sorry, it stopped working. For me or anyone else that had to pay $80,000, that's a huge amount. That's more, it keeps on turning off. That's pretty much a bucket full for a citizen like me or anyone else who has to pay. So I'm asking the city to have something, especially sorry, it keeps on turning off. I don't know what's wrong with the microphone.
Probably a battery issue.
Yeah. So basically, I know, Mr. Poitras, one of your main campaign issues was to help people with issues with sinking houses. You started a Facebook group, you sent out messages to hundreds of people, and that's what you were campaigning on. So that being said, I'd like a response from you and Mr. Mayor Guamado. I would like to know what you guys are willing to do, because like I said, 0.2% or maximum 0.5% if it's 50 people that you help out, and have something legislator, whatever call it, that you only help the people who applied for a grant, or only give it to people who actually lifted their houses. So given that, I can't see it being the hundreds of houses that people are talking about, because not everyone has lifted their houses. But for the people who did lift their houses, which according to my estimates are maybe 20 to 50 people that did it, to give those people some kind of financial help in terms of not giving, forgetting the word right now, but to allow those people not to have to pay taxes for a few years, at least, the very least for 1 year. I think that would be a huge gesture from the city, because the houses shouldn't even be built on that land in the first place.
So before I answer your question, Monsieur Tremblay, dans le tiroir, il y a une batterie. Ah.
Joël va venir parce qu'on avait vérifié les batteries avant le début de la séance, Monsieur le maire.
OK, merci, c'est gentil. So before I pass the mic over to Monsieur Poitras, I will answer the question that was directed to me. What the council intends to do, I'm sure you're not expecting an answer now.
No, I just want you guys to consider this very strongly.
So what we will do is we will put it on our agenda for next week to discuss it amongst the elected officials. Your suggestion will be discussed.
Okay.
Okay, Monsieur Poitras.
I just asked, mon français n'est pas très bien, so s'il vous plaît, si possible en anglais.
Okay. Puis je vais traduire pour toi en français.
No. First of all, I would like to rectify what you said that I used that for my campaign, which is not. I did my door-to-door a year prior to the election.
Yeah, but you told me here that one of the major things you're doing is running so you can help people with sinking houses. That's what you told me and many other people here.
Well, first of all, I did door-to-door a year prior. Then with our group, we went to see Lucie Charlebois. Then we got a grant from the Quebec government and the municipality. that's what pushed me. If I can make a difference, then I think I can make a difference as a counselor.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main thing. That's one of the reasons why I ran as a counselor.
Okay.
Not just the sinking home was.
Well, I wasn't saying that's the only thing. I'm just saying it's one of the things you spoke to me about.
I wanted to make a difference, and I think I did. Humble.
Yes, it helped, but $20,000 out of $80,000.
And second of all, you know how much I got from that program? Zero. That's what.
But that's not my question. My question is helping the people who currently have that issue.
And we did apply for the second year.
Okay, that's wonderful. But I still only got $20,000 out of $80,000. That's 25%. I'm still in the whole $60,000.
Me too.
Okay, so let's see if the city will do something.
Well, we'll sit at a table and try to find a solution.
Okay.
I'm not here to defend anybody, and God knows Michel can defend himself well enough. But the point is, the program was already in place when Michel was elected.
Yeah, I'm aware.
But prior to the elections, Michel was instrumental in the work that was done to bring the program. And the administration then worked very hard to make sure that there was something available.
Yeah.
But not to defend Michel, but he was the program was already in place when Michel was elected.
Yeah, I was here when it was.
Monsieur Chartrand voulait ajouter quelque chose?
Je voulais juste souligner que Michel, avant qu'il soit élu, avait payé tous les frais de sa maison au complet. Il n'a pas pu jouir de ça. C'est juste ça que je voulais dire.
Yeah, and that's not right. They had to do that. So, but doesn't mean that because he had to pay everything to get anything, then no one else should get anything.
Merci beaucoup.
I'm not
Thank
saying
you.
I'm against your idea, but we got to think of it.
Yeah, I want you guys to think about it. That's
Can I
all.
add something?
Please do, Madame Tremblay.
A few things. First, you mentioned that only 10 homeowners could be helped. That's false. It's 20. That was the $200,000 that the town taxpayers' money went towards. $200,000. So in order to be able to help up to 20 homeowners, not 10, because it's up to $10,000 from the municipality, up to $10,000 by the provincial. So you benefited from 20, but 10 came directly from the taxpayers of Saint-Lazare.
Yeah.
So it was 20 homes. I just wanted to correct that. The other thing is just to remind everybody that it's all of our tax dollars that went towards this. So a tax break, you're asking for something on top of what you already got. Just want to make sure that that's what you're saying.
Well, a tax break because it shouldn't have even been built on that land in the first place.
So there's blame here. So I just
well, yes, the city allowed homes to be built in areas that weren't sufficiently.
I won't address that.
Okay.
Sorry.
We all know the argument behind that statement, and nobody in this room could change what was done over 20 years ago. And the decisions that were taken there. The only thing this council can do, and the previous council has done, was address the issue, find a way to help the people that are in that situation, and that's what has been done.
What I was going to add was that subsidies always have criteria that people must meet, the town as much as the homeowners, and we have to meet that criteria, and we don't sort of bend the rules. It has to be the same for all. It has to be fair, equitable.
No, I agree.
And just to clarify, I don't think we can just decide to give a tax break where we wish. There are very limited situations where tax breaks can be given, and that is, again, to be equitable to all taxpayers.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm pretty sure that this does not meet the criteria.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
We're fine.
Yeah. How many people haven't signed the agreement about the landslide issue?
84%. 5 have not.
5?
5 have not.
I understood it was 9. I could be getting bad information. Are you trying to get people to sign in a document absolving the city of any legal responsibility should anything happen to any of the houses in the landslide zone?
The contract that the people have signed, every person signing it has an option to make whatever modifications they want.
Excuse me? Modification to the contract?
No, when they come, they can make addendums to the, no? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's take it or leave it on the agreement?
Pardon me?
It's take it or leave it on the agreement?
Yes.
Well, there are people who, I don't know why other people aren't here standing up here and I'm here talking about this. Because even though I'm not directly affected and I wasn't allowed in the meeting on the January 22nd, apparently I haven't heard anything since then. Apparently, I was told within a month there would be a meeting for the other people who are not directly affected about just what's going on over there.
The process is as follows. The time limit has arrived.
And come and gone, hasn't it?
Deadline has arrived.
Yeah.
All the information has been provided to le ministère de Sécurité publique.
Yeah.
And now we are waiting for them to reevaluate the...
And when will we hear anything?
I don't know. I left my as soon as they can. I left my crystal ball at home, so I can't tell you.
It's been going on for about 9 years, 8 or 9 years. I mean, this just seems to drag on forever. I mean, I have a question to ask, and it's really a delicate one. I tend to read the newspapers a lot. And there's a company called Lavacon in charge with asking for kickbacks from its subcontractors for an extension of a library in Pierrefonds. It didn't take me very long to put 2 and 2 together, and that's the same company that built this place.
Monsieur Tremblay, je vous, no,
I'm asking you, never mind asking Sarah
okay.
to run interference for you here.
Mr. Meads?
Yes.
The person that was in charge of the project from beginning to end was Mr. Tremblay.
Okay.
And he is in a very good position to answer your question.
Yeah, well, that leads me to
don't
wonder what, you know, that this whole building, Mr. Traynor used to stand up here and complain about the cost of the city hall.
I constantly inquired as to the
Yeah.
cost of the...
Do you believe the cost of this city hall is what they said it was during the meeting where they did the budget of 10 million or under 10 million? Do you believe that's the final cost of this building?
I believe you have to look at exactly what is being included in
Well, everything
cost.
inside, the generator outside, all this fancy furniture, all the new the electronics, the equipment, everything, the whole shebang. What do you think it costs?
In the ballpark of that number.
Well, that's not what I hear from people. And I don't get my information from the tooth fairy or something. I get it from previous councillors.
The information upon une demande d'accès d'information is completely available.
Yeah.
The costs, exact costs of town hall.
On the website.
Every down to every last pencil.
It's on the website because we even agreed to put it on the website. That's correct.
Well, I look at your website and I look at all the pictures that have been put up, and it's a beautiful building. I don't deny it. But for our little town here, I think it's a bit much. Plus the church, by the way, if you don't know, this is just off the subject. The church next door is going bankrupt. They can't pay their bills. And the whole parking area in front is owned by the church. But I guess that's an agreement you made with the church.
The agreement is made with La Fabrique.
Yeah.
We have a leasing agreement for the parking lot.
Yeah.
And Madame Reynaud will correct me if I'm mistaken, but that leasing agreement stands even if the building is sold.
Okay. I understood when this building was put together, there was about 10 derogation mineurs passed to just be able to keep on this lot. Am I correct? You don't know.
Mais yes, on a fait des dérogations mineures au moment de la construction pour beaucoup de raisons. La caduc était une raison, l'adresse aussi, etc., etc. Oui, on a passé des dérogations mineures.
Il y avait une pour l'adresse, là.
Il y avait aussi
je me souviens pas du nom.
Il n'y en avait pas une pour
les
l'eau. Les
dérogations mineures sont passées par résolution.
Oui.
Il se peut que ma mémoire soit défaillante, mais je ne me souviens pas d'une dérogation mineure concernant l'hôtel de ville. Je me souviens qu'il y en a eu, je pense que c'est pour la caserne ou le garage municipal qu'il y a eu une dérogation mineure, mais je n'ai pas souvenir qu'il y en a eu. Mais écoutez...
Il n'y en avait pas une pour l'adresse.
Je pense qu'il y avait...
pour l'adresse?
Il y avait quelque chose
Les
pour...
dérogations mineures visent le règlement de
Oui, je
zonage ou de
comprends, mais il y avait de
lotissement.
quoi? OK. Donc,
non, c'était peut-être pas une
Je pense que
dérogation
c'est
mineure, mais je sais qu'il y avait
pour
le sujet
l'entrée,
du
le
fait...
fait que la façade se retrouve sur Saint-Angélique,
mhm.
alors que le terrain qui accède à la voie publique est sur Bédard.
C'est ça.
Alors,
Ça,
est-ce
il y
que
a eu
c'était une
décision
dérogation
du-
mineure ou pas? Je ne me souviens pas, mais je
Je
sais
me
que c'était un
souviens pas
sujet
du
qu'on a
véhicule
discuté.
procédural, moi non plus, mais c'est à peu près la seule chose. Merci à vous de l'avoir
Ouais.
rappelé. C'était
Mm.
les bons mots-clés pour m'aligner.
C'est ça, c'est parce que
Le
notre
frontage sur
le frontage de la
Ouais,
bâtisse, il y avait un changement qui était fait à cause du
Le
frontage de la
frontage est
bâtisse.
correct, c'est la
C'est ça,
façade.
la façade.
La façade n'est pas alignée avec le
C'est
terrain
ça.
qui donne sur la voie publique.
Yeah. Not 10.
How many?
1. Maybe. And
One?
what? Yeah.
I didn't understand most of it, but that's
Yeah.
the
Don't believe everything you read on the internet, Mr. Meads. You
No,
should
I
know
don't-
that by now.
Well, I don't believe, but I do write, in Community Connections and now Beaudoin Dorion. I do try to put up stuff that I believe to be accurate, and if anything's mistaken and I've made a mistake, I'll more than publicly apologize for it and retract. Another thing I'd like to bring up is this building it's magnificent. It's great. Why did we need something so big, so like it is for a small town like Saint-Lazare? Why did we need this?
I'm not going to debate that.
You're
with
going to
you,
debate it. No,
Mr.
you don't
Meads.
want to debate it.
I'm not going to debate that.
Well,
with you,
was
Mr.
it
Meads.
this somebody's
question-
magnificence? Is this
the re-
you got carried away with
The
this?
reality is that it is done.
It's
It
done.
is-
Oh
it
yeah,
is-
it's
But
done.
it is done not for 1 or 2 years. It is
It's done for 100 years.
A very,
Oh,
very
I'm
long
sure it
time.
is. Yeah.
All possible expansions hopefully have been taken into account. There won't need. I'm not going to compare with other municipalities that build a town hall and 2 years later or a year later they're already expanding it. The trick is when you build something, you build it for it to last.
Oh,
one.
you built it to last. I saw the
And
foundation go in, and
and
I've never
yeah,
seen
it's-
anything quite like it in my life.
It's built to last,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's built to meet the needs of the community for many years. I'm hoping the church will be there for 200 years, and I hope that this town hall will be here for 200
Well, I
years.
certainly won't be around for that long. But
Neither will I, but God bless. We will
Another
be-
thing I want to bring up, and it's another sore point. The money you people get all comes from the taxpayer. And I've understood that from being told by previous councillor that whenever some kind of project comes up, the mantra is, don't worry about it. Money's no object.
Mr. Trainer, maybe you'd like to respond to this one.
That would be
Am I being fed
so further from the truth.
really?
Unbelievable.
Okay, well, I'm asking,
I had
I'm
a
putting
feeling
the
Mr.
question
Trainer
out
would
there,
like
and
to
I'm
respond
asking
to that one.
Far
because,
from the truth, Mr. Meads.
Okay.
You would not believe.
okay, fair enough. But the salaries that are paid in this building, come on. I mean, you know very well, I got a hold of the salary lists a couple of years ago and I put them on Facebook. I didn't know I was supposed to wasn't supposed to put the names up. But hello. Between 100 and 150,000 a year for all the directors. Minimum wage here seems to be 50,000 a year. Correct me if I'm wrong, or show me all the lists of how much people are making here.
Mr. Meads?
Yeah.
I invite you to go visit or ask for public information from other communities.
No, I'm asking it from you.
You know what? You in life, and I'm not going to discuss salaries and what people are earning. That's for sure. You want good people. We live in an extremely competitive world. We do not overpay our employees. We are.
I doubt that very
The
much.
reports could be supplied
My
to
wife
you.
has 2 degrees, was a teacher for 34 years and never saw more than 60,000 a year.
Okay.
I-
I'm not gonna debate opinions with you, Mr. Meads.
Mr. Meads, I don't want to contract, je veux pas vous mettre contre vous ou pour vous, là. I don't want to be against or for you, but just one thing now.
Mhm.
What's the point and what's the question?
Well, I just feel
Because
money
we are on the question
grows
and
on
you
trees.
make a lot of comments and no question.
Well, I feel that money grows a lot on
That's
It's
another
treated-
comment.
Mr. Meads, we had one of the lowest tax increases in the
yes,
entire area.
this year
2
was
years
great.
in a row.
Yes, it
Mr.
was.
Meads.
Yeah.
2 years in a row.
Yeah,
Do you think that happened by chance?
probably
Or do
not.
you think this council is seriously watching.
Well, I've heard
the money.
that you guys are, you know, turning the screws on things a little bit, and that's good
Turning
to
the
hear.
screws, just being very vigilant, including on the salary situation,
Yeah.
which is under constant review.
Okay.
So I can assure you that money is not being spent willy-nilly at this council.
Fair enough. All right. I have a right to stand here and ask the question.
Absolutely.
And you have a right to correct me, and I want to be corrected. Now, as far as back to Charbonneau and Calypso, nobody on those streets, oh, you give me this look like you're in pain. Nobody can sell their house on those streets.
I am not in pain.
We don't live on Yearling or wherever the hell the street is alongside, what is it, Dunes Lake. Dunes Lake, I'm telling you, there's a subject I could get in on.
Can you ask a question, please,
Yeah.
Mr. Meads?
Why are we paying full tax on properties we can't sell until this slide zone farce is fixed?
That's a decision that would be made by council, and it is not being brought to the table. You've asked these questions.
I've been asking these questions for years and years and years.
Mr. Meads, you've been asking the same questions over and over and over again.
Yeah.
You know the answers to 99.9%.
Oh, it's coming up. We're working on it. It'll be happening next year. It'll be
Meads?
happening.
Mr. Meads,
Yes.
it's enough.
It's
I'm
enough.
sorry. Yeah. If you have a question.
Oh, I'm a naughty boy, am I? I got to be told, go sit down there and behave?
You've asked the same questions
Yeah.
over and over again for the past few years. Honestly, it is extremely repetitive.
Oh, gee.
The reality, Mr. Meads, is the first time you brought this issue to this mic when I was sitting here in 2012, we said, Mr. Meads, it's an issue we were going to look at.
Yeah.
We will deal with Cheline Valley.
Yeah.
We have dealt with Cheline Valley.
Nothing's been done.
We're still dealing with it.
Yeah.
And I think that at one point this has got to stop.
It'll stop when it's fixed.
Thank you, Mr. Meads.
Good evening, Rachel Solium.
You might want to lower the mic and get really close to it. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Rachel Solium. I just want to take you back a couple months to the council meeting in December, which is when we presented you with a petition that was signed by over 3,000 Saint-Lazare constituents relating to the moratorium on development. And in that petition, a very clear mandate and very clear deliverables about what the constituents wanted to see and wanted to be done before that moratorium was lifted. So I have a three-part question. First of all, just like an update, I know that there are things in the works that there are different efforts that are being made to address some of those issues. So just like an update on how those are progressing. Secondly, what, if any, citizen involvement or citizen consultation do you have planned in that process? And thirdly, out of respect, I guess, for all of those people who signed that petition, the only method that we have of getting information about and making council accountable for that mandate that was given in the petition is for some of us to come to council meetings and to ask the question. And so one thing that was asked of me is whether council could put in place some kind of a process, a reporting process, whether it be on the website or some kind of publication or some announcement that's made at regular council meetings about the process. So giving an update, a regular update that would be generated by council on those issues that are highlighted in the petition.
Okay, question 3.
Yes.
No, there's not a process in place. I will make a note. We will discuss it next Tuesday when we sit down. Question 2, no public consultation has been discussed or scheduled regarding the moratorium. And question number 1, yes, things are already in motion. In fact, an example tonight, we'll be passing a resolution where we're going to tender for what we call the caractérisation de territoire. So we're going to start inventorying certain sectors that are part of, that have not been inventoried in the past and that are part of that that area west of St. Charles. So a resolution will be passed tonight.
That's fantastic.
Assuming that it will be approved, but I don't see a problem.
That was one of the items that was raised, and there were a number of other ones, and some of them, with all due respect, were somewhat bigger than that. And the one that I'm thinking of most specifically is the conservation plan, integrating the conservation plan into the bylaws. So is anybody
that
able
as
to
well
give an update?
is in process. So le comité consultatif en environnement, the environmental committee, in fact, Madame Lachance, as you well know, sits on that committee. One of the mandates will be to look at the conservation plan. And once their recommendations on the conservation plan come back to council, and then we will move forward on to what to do and how to basically integrate them in the bylaws of the town.
And do you know if there is a mandated deadline by which that has to be done?
No, there is no mandated deadline at this time.
There, neither by the town nor by kind of
There
higher.
is no, there has.
There is actually going to be a new payment. We'll have 2 years to implement the plan de conservation into our bylaws. When the new payment comes out, we'll have 2 years to do that.
So from that point, there will be 2 years.
Yeah, because there is a revision to the plan métropolitain.
And do we know when that is expected?
May, I think. Is it May?
It's May or June.
Okay, so from this spring, there will then be 2 years.
The municipalities, I think, already have all a draft, and yes, May or June. I'm not sure exactly when, but this year.
Thank you. So and again, not to repeat myself, but just to avoid having to come back here and be repetitive, which is not my intent. But like I said, that's really the only vehicle we have for
Can I
trying
suggest
to.
something?
Yes.
If I mean, like I said, it doesn't. There's not much changes from month to month. It's a slow process. But I'm willing to. I have a blog, and I'm willing to update my blog with anything I can share on my blog, and then share it with you if that's
That would
a
be
good
great.
way.
That would be great. And then if there's anything more formal that council could put in place, that would be appreciated as well.
And when you have any questions, and again, at any time, doesn't have to be a council meeting, call. We'll, any one of us will be more than happy to answer your questions.
Thank you very much.
And Geneviève, we're looking for people on the committee. It's on the page of the Saint-Lazare now. If you really agree about the environment, the committee environment needs people because we have a lot of demission because of big job.
Okay. How many people, Geneviève, are you looking for?
Two. We're looking
Minimum 2, but we'll see if, depending on how many people apply. But
Okay. Thank you.
That was a no-brainer, right?
Good evening.
Bonsoir, how are you?
Fine, thank you. I'm following up on 2 questions I brought to council.
Just to identify yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. Linda Glasgow, Saddlebrook.
Thank you.
The last council meeting, I had 2 questions regarding the Bordelais bog and the Environment Committee's choice, biologist choice, and you said that it was going to be discussed at the following caucus meeting. Have you got any further information?
Yeah, what we've done is we've given instructions to a town employee to come back to us with costs and recommendations. So basically, the council was in agreement that we need to study what is going on with the Bordelais bog. Okay. And then following that, first we need to know what it's going to cost. And so now we're waiting to get that information back from the administration and decide on if and when we give a mandate. But the ball is rolling. And
it will be this year?
Again, I don't have my crystal ball tonight, but let's just say that if it needs to go to budget, no, it will not be this year. It will be budgeted for 2020. But if the council wants, they can pull it out of surplus or whatever. We don't know yet. One, we haven't received a recommendation from the administration. We don't know what it's going to cost. But once we have that information, then we will take a decision.
Okay, because at the last council meeting, your remark was, it doesn't need to be budgeted. This is something that you can all decide on.
If we decide, that's what I'm saying, we
Good.
could be decided to take it out of surplus.
Okay,
And again, we're going to wait till we get the information back from the administration, and then council will make a decision.
when do you think that timeline is to get that information back?
Don't know yet. I'll inform myself tomorrow as to where the town employee that's been mandated to look into it. We'll find out tomorrow what the timeline's like. I'll ask the question.
Can I just add something?
Sure, absolutely.
Also, seeing that we want to study the water in the bog, it may be more prudent to plan for next year so we have a full year and we can use the seasons to our benefit. So that could be something that comes into play also, you know, make sure that we're not starting a study, say, in the summer when we could be taking some data in the spring also. So if time is of the essence, you know, if we feel that the timeline is more favorable to work next year and to make sure that we get the full benefit of all seasons, that might be something that comes into play.
We do have 2019 starting in the spring as a good time to collect this data.
Yes, but you understand it's March. So if
Yes.
we, you know, sometimes it takes a little while before we actually get a contract given to somebody to do a study, if that's the case. So it could be that time will be an issue.
Okay.
But I
I'm just saying,
understand.
not definitely, it's just, it could be. So it could be that we may find it more beneficial to wait a year.
But I understand your point, and most of these studies do start in the spring and usually do start around the month of May. And so I understand your point. So tomorrow we'll look into it immediately.
Yeah, because it's already been 2 years that we know there's an issue, minimum 2 years. Okay.
I agree.
Ms. Glasgow, if I can suggest, rather than you have to wait until next month's council meeting, if you leave the coordinates with the administration,
Okay.
we can surely get back to you with
Thank you.
the latest feedback much sooner.
Okay, thank you. The other topic, I'd like to, if I may, read an announcement that was issued by the city of Beaconsfield yesterday regarding a court victory. And the reason I want to bring this up is because we've discussed this on numerous occasions in meetings regarding Mr. Pilon's project and the droit acquis. And I've summarized I have the full statement here, but I've summarized what they've said. It said, following years of court proceedings, the highest appeals court in Quebec ruled in favor of the town of Beaconsfield. The court ruled against the developer with regard to claims targeting acquired rights and stipulated that Beaconsfield respected procedures for the protection of Angel Woods. So Angel Woods is now a protected area, even though the developer was using droit acquis, which we've heard numerous times from this council. And just to quote Mayor Hawa, who is of Saint-Anne-de-Bellevue, she said, protection of the green space now recognized as a policy decision benefiting all citizens. To those government actors who still say that their hands are tied when it comes to protecting green space, I say, no, they ain't. They are legal tools available to act. It's just policy choice not to act. So if you would like a copy
I
of
would
that.
actually, yes. I'm not, I mean, we all know where Angel Woods are, but I'm not familiar with the ruling. Thank you, Linda. Thank you very much, Madame Glasgow.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Réjeanne Bilodeau sur le chemin du fief. Alors, je suis ici pour vous parler d'eau potable. Grande inquiétude qui vient de faire surface. Alors, un petit préambule très court. On sait que les puits 10, 11, 12 ont été faits pour rencontrer des besoins, étant donné que les capacités d'approvisionnement dans les puits, les 9 puits, en fait, de Saint-Angélique, là, commençaient à atteindre des seuils. Alors, ces 3 puits-là vont être développés. Il y a eu des études de fait, etc.
9, 10, 11.
9, 10, 11, pardon. J'avais cru voir 10, 11, 12.
10, 11, 12.
Merci, Mme Reynaud.
Merci.
Je suis toujours bien documentée, M.
Oh,
Noël. J'aime mieux vous rassurer là-dessus.
Puis c'est pour ça que je me fais corriger parce que des fois.
J'ai d'ailleurs ma liste de questions ici pour Mme Reynaud que je pourrais déposer avec mes coordonnées comme vous le souhaitez. Alors, tout ce que je veux dire essentiellement, c'est que l'hôpital prévu à Vaudreuil va vraiment générer plusieurs facettes au niveau environnemental. Ça, il n'y a pas d'erreur, on en est conscient. Monsieur Guy Pilon a, dans un reportage qui a été diffusé le 4 février et dans mon sommaire, vous avez les sites, vous avez les adresses, il y a tout si vous voulez le voir. Il y avait un enthousiasme débordant quand il a parlé d'avoir exproprié un terrain pour ensuite intercepter un tuyau qui vient en fait d'un puits de Saint-Lazare et qui va lui permettre de construire un bassin de rétention d'eau pour alimenter l'hôpital.
Oui.
Alors, avez-vous une idée de ce que ça consomme, un hôpital?
C'est énorme. Je n'ai pas les chiffres exacts, mais c'est énorme.
Alors, c'est vraiment beaucoup, puis il faut être consciencieux de ça. Alors, dans les rapports de consommation d'eau potable qui ont été faits par le gouvernement du Québec et qui sont quand même très récents, j'ai aussi laissé l'adresse et une image aussi du document pour que vous puissiez le reconnaître. Là-dedans, bien évidemment, on parle d'une consommation qui peut, et là c'est conservateur, qui peut aller de 421 litres d'eau jusqu'à 4666. On va essayer de s'éloigner du 4666 là, parce que ça, c'est vraiment épeurant. Mais prenons juste le 421 litres d'eau par lit par jour. On sait que c'est un hôpital de 400 lits au moins. Ça rajoute, quand on sait que grâce aux études qui ont été déposées sur le site dernièrement en 2015, 2016, 2017, la consommation de Saint-Lazare se situait entre 302, 335 pour l'année 2016 et 306, 308, là, à 2 litres, on ne va pas chicaner. Alors, il y a tout ça. On consomme 300 quelques litres d'eau. Les lits d'hôpitaux vont en consommer 421 minimum. On ne sait pas. Est-ce que ça inclut aussi toutes les aires de service, les cafétérias, les
c'est probablement une moyenne qui est déterminée, c'est ça.
On peut chercher parce que là, c'est sûr que j'ai mis la main là-dedans, là, puis on va aller en profondeur.
Justement, le mois passé, c'était porté à notre attention. M. Couture était présent à une conférence de presse. Mais il n'est pas là ce soir, mais il était présent à une conférence de presse. Puis il a amené cette information justement au conseil que le maire de Vaudreuil a mentionné que le puits qu'ils ont sur le territoire de Saint-Lazare va être celui qui va alimenter l'hôpital. Donc, on a déjà demandé à nos gens en infrastructure de nous revenir avec de l'information concernant ça.
Mais honnêtement, là, dans une planification, là, surtout pour l'hôpital, là, on aurait dû être un petit peu plus à l'avant-garde de ça, puis être à l'affût de l'information. Parce que là, il est un peu tard. S'il a déjà exproprié quelqu'un, lui, il est prêt à faire les travaux, là, puis à avancer, bien, à un moment donné, il y a des décisions qui doivent se prendre. Ça prend une étude sérieuse, là. Parce que nous, on n'en a pas d'autres sources d'approvisionnement à Saint-Lazare. Eux, à Vaudreuil, ils peuvent s'approvisionner dans les lacs, autant du côté de Dorion que du côté de Vaudreuil, mais pas nous. Ça va coûter une somme énorme là, si jamais on vient à manquer d'eau. Puis déjà, on avait des préoccupations juste avec notre croissance à nous au niveau de
encore, je ne suis pas un expert.
Non, non.
Je ne suis définitivement pas ingénieur en hydrologie, mais suite à des rapports qu'on a déjà vus, justement des rapports et des présentations qui ont été faits ici, notre zone de recharge, on le sait tous, là, on a tout vient de l'ouest de la ville.
Oui.
Elle recharge nos puits qui sont au centre de la ville puis au secteur sud de la ville aussi, donc dans la Pinière, etc. L'approvisionnement, encore, je ne suis pas expert, mais ce qui est important à vérifier, peut-être dans une étude, ça serait voir exactement si notre approvisionnement va être affecté par le puits qui va être utilisé. Donc, c'est ça la question.
Bien, c'est une grosse question, là, parce que déjà, dans les études, entre autres de Technorem, à certains égards, les dimensions des terrains avec les constructions et les espaces qui vont être imperméabilisés et tout, on n'était déjà pas rassurés parce que les calculs au niveau des surfaces n'étaient pas adéquats. Alors, on rajoute là 400 lits qui consomment plus que ce que nous, les Lazarois, on consomme. Alors, à un moment donné, il faut être sérieux. Ça va être quoi les plans? C'est beau de dire on va donner ça à nos infrastructures, mais là, ça prend des spécialistes. C'est une grosse étude qui est requise, là, comme on en a besoin pour la caractérisation. Puis, en passant, vous avez mentionné que tantôt, il va y avoir une résolution là-dessus. Vous avez dit que ça parlait de Saint-Charles, l'ouest de Saint-Charles. J'espère que c'est toute la région de l'ouest de Saint-Charles, parce qu'il faut comprendre que des études de caractérisation, ça ne peut pas être fait comme des pièces de puzzle qu'on met ensemble par la suite. Il faut vraiment que ce soit global. Il faut qu'on pense à la région totale, que tous les besoins, que ce soit faune, flore, passage, corridor, nature, même si je sais que vous dites souvent qu'on a quand même de la verdure tout le tour des maisons, un corridor nature, ce n'est pas par définition ça. Mais il faut encourager toutes les bonnes initiatives.
Toutes les initiatives sont bonnes.
Voilà, on s'entend bien là-dessus. Alors, l'étude de caractérisation, elle comprend quoi?
Exactement. Je ne suis pas sûr. Peut-être Mme Lachance est plus au courant parce qu'elle est sur le comité d'environnement. Mais je sais qu'il y a certains secteurs qui sont caractérisés, puis il y en a qui ne le sont pas. Puis je crois que, puis on va me corriger si j'ai tort, je crois que justement le mandat est donné pour viser les secteurs qui ne sont pas caractérisés.
Mais il faut que ce soit l'ensemble des secteurs qui n'ont pas encore été caractérisés.
C'est pas exactement ça?
Madame Lachance, elle avait hâte de répondre, je pense, mais c'est pas tout à fait ça. On commence d'abord avec les lots qui sont ciblés.
Oui, mais c'est ça qui va arriver. C'est que si vous allez avec des zones ciblées, vous allez manquer le portrait global.
Madame,
oui.
On ne peut pas faire tout en même temps. C'est impossible. C'est impossible financièrement dans une année de tout faire dans le temps. C'est quelqu'un qui se promène, c'est des gens qui se promènent sur le territoire, qui prennent des données. C'est sûr qu'on ne peut pas tout faire en même temps. Comme vous le savez, on a commencé par des zones qui sont probables à développement, parce qu'on va être sûr, avant de développer, que ce ne soit pas des zones qui devraient être conservées ou qu'il y a quelque chose qu'on devrait protéger. On commence comme ça, puis on a déjà des zones qui ont été caractérisées. On fait les zones qui n'ont pas été caractérisées, puis on développe comme ça. On va cibler d'autres zones qui sont plus, on le sait déjà, qui sont un peu qu'est-ce qu'ils ont dessus, puis qu'on devrait aller voir en détail. Mais on ne peut pas tout faire en même temps.
C'est pas ça le but de la demande. Le but de la demande, c'est de le faire comme il faut, pour une fois. Il y en avait des études avec Génivard, phase 1, phase 2. La phase 3 n'a jamais été faite. Bon, elle devait contenir Saint-Charles. C'est le temps là, de regarder Saint-Charles comme une entité globale et non pas des petits bouts.
Je ne sais pas si j'ai compris votre réponse, Monsieur Tremblay, parce que moi, j'étais sous l'impression que la plupart des terrains ouest de Saint-Charles, une grosse partie était déjà caractérisée. Est-ce que c'est pas 4 secteurs qui est dans le mandat ou c'est oui?
Il y a trois secteurs qu'on fait. Il y a un secteur qui est sur Saint-Charles, Côte-Saint-Charles, parce que c'est il y a un projet résidentiel présentement qui veut se construire. Il y a une autre zone qui est Monsieur Pilon, et puis l'autre zone, c'est dans Bonaventure.
Avez-vous l'intention de caractériser l'ensemble du territoire de Saint-Lazare et le plus rapidement possible?
Au niveau de la caractérisation, il y a une problématique assez importante. On pourrait tout caractériser Saint-Lazare au complet, puis ça coûterait une fortune, mais n'oubliez pas que l'environnement change tout le temps. Une caractérisation, 2 ans plus tard, n'est plus bonne dans certains cas. Il ne faudra pas l'oublier. Ça peut dépenser une fortune pour caractériser quelque chose. Il faut quand même aller à certaines étapes. Là, actuellement, on a décidé de caractériser les territoires qui ont des possibilités de développement. Surtout. Puis après ça, si on a les moyens, on va aller plus loin et plus gros. Mais je veux dire, ça coûte quand même, je pense, juste le budget. On en parle-tu du budget ce soir dans la chose, non? Dans
la dépense, c'est 125 000.
125 000 pour le moment, là. Puis ça, c'est ça. Oui, c'est ça. On a mis ça au budget. Mais je veux dire, c'est beaucoup d'argent, là. Tout faire l'ouest de Saint-Charles, on parlait peut-être de 3-4 millions de dollars, là, d'après ce que je vois ça. Là.
Chose certaine, là, l'argent que vous allez investir pour les études de caractérisation, pour protéger les ressources naturelles, ça va être payant pour vous parce que si on manque d'eau et que vous êtes obligé d'aller chercher de l'eau à différents endroits.
Mais les caractérisations ne protègent pas les régions. On peut juste les connaître, les régions. Ça permet de connaître, de prendre des décisions plus claires.
Oui,
C'est ça que
parce
ça fait.
que ce que vous avez besoin, c'est de savoir c'est quoi le milieu humide, à quel point il peut être attaqué. Puis quand un milieu humide est attaqué, là, si vous n'avez pas de plan de régénération, premièrement, touchons-y pas. Hein? On va les laisser vivre parce que ça, là, c'est le poumon de la région. Puis il y en a des objectifs au niveau de ça dans le PIMAD aussi. Il y a des objectifs au niveau des boisés, au niveau des milieux humides, il faut les conserver parce qu'il n'y a rien de pire pour assécher, pour drainer, puis pour perdre notre capacité de refaire l'eau pour la nappe phréatique. L'environnement, là, tout se tient en environnement. Alors, je ne veux pas retenir, évidemment, tout le monde, là, mais
Il y a
je voulais
déjà
quand
des
même...
zones qu'on connaît, qui a des zones humides dessus, qu'on ne peut pas permettre de toute manière de la construction.
Ouais. Mais il y en a qui ont disparu aussi.
Oui,
il y en
mais quand un développeur va sur un terrain, il doit lui-même, on le sait, fournir des études pour... puis on sait que les zones humides, c'est un problème, mais c'est quelque chose qu'on va regarder aussi avec le comité de l'environnement parce qu'on sait que qu'est-ce qui est hors périmètre urbain n'est pas aussi protégé que qu'est-ce qui est au périmètre urbain.
Bien, je pense qu'il faut se questionner aussi sur le fait que des promoteurs puissent payer des études pour essayer de prouver des points. À un moment donné, c'est peut-être pas logique. Je pense que la Ville devrait s'impliquer avec peut-être une opportunité de dire on a des gens qui font des études basées sur nos modèles, sur les questions qu'on veut avoir.
C'est justement, Mme Bilodeau, ce soir, la résolution qui pense, c'est justement ça qu'on fait. On pourrait demander, puis on a les rapports de caractérisation qui sont fournis par certains développeurs, mais la réalité, c'est qu'on va dépenser justement pour faire nos propres évaluations.
Standardisées.
Puis, concernant votre commentaire que vous avez fait, caractériser toute la ville.
Bien là, OK, je vais me reprendre. Voulez-vous, je vais me reprendre?
Non, je veux juste vous dire.
Je ne veux pas parler de toute la ville au complet parce qu'il y a des zones qui n'ont même pas été étudiées. Il y a des zones qui sont déjà dézonées puis qui sont déjà dédiées à d'autres fonctions. Entendons-nous, j'ai peut-être omis de préciser zone de conservation.
Non, mais il y en a beaucoup. Moi, quand je réfère à toutes les autres places qui devraient être caractérisées, je pense de la même façon que vous. Là. Oui, il y a beaucoup de places à Saint-Lazare qui ne sont pas caractérisées, spécialement tout partout. Mais le faire tout d'un coup, ça serait extrêmement dispendieux. Déjà pour trouver le 125 000, on a mentionné tantôt, M. Traynor a dit c'est une des augmentations de taux de taxe la plus basse dans des années. On réussit à garder les augmentations de taux de taxe bas en prenant des décisions pour ne pas dépenser à l'épouvante. Donc, un peu à la fois, je pense qu'on va se rendre là. On a un comité d'environnement qui prennent tout ça très au sérieux.
Bien, je dirais qu'à trop regarder l'arbre, on va peut-être perdre la forêt, sans faire de jeu de mots. Oui. Puis au niveau de l'eau potable, ça coule de source qu'il faut en prendre soin aussi.
Absolument. On est tous entièrement d'accord.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup.
Hi, Pat Novus and Shamin Dufief. Good evening. In relation to what Mrs. Bilodeau was talking about with the Mayor Pilon from Vaudreuil-Dorion saying that the new hospital will be, the water sources for the new hospital will come from a connection Vaudreuil has to the wells of Saint-Lazare. We were already worried.
Just a quick correction, not the wells of Saint-Lazare. There is one well in Saint-Lazare.
That will furbish it?
That is owned by la ville de Vaudreuil. There's one well. It's près de Cité des Jeunes. It's one well. So it's not that they have access to our wells.
But the water is in the same.
It's not one well, it's 4 wells.
Yeah, but it's one.
There's one on Cité des Jeunes, and there's 3 more up there.
Basically, they're sourcing water from the aquifer located in Saint-Lazare, which is a big one. We were already worried about it. As Mrs. Bilodeau already said, the 9 wells that are furbishing the Saint Angelique water station are reaching maximum capacity. That's why the town hired TechnoRem to look into an alternative, which is the P10, P11, P12 wells in our area. So When we had seen the TechnoRem report, they based a lot of their statistics on the population growth in Saint-Lazare, the residential population growth. We didn't see any statistics on the consummation of industrial or commercial use. And in the PACES report and the PACES report, they say usually 56% of total water use is residential and 33% is commercial. So I think that's one of the reasons why the petition was so successful and people signed it is because the population is demanding a stringent hydrology study, because we might end up having water issues here when some of our wells are coming to capacity and we have to source elsewhere. I know you've had a debate on the disclosure that the town gave, that Mr. Nicol mentioned, that the 3 wells were one of the last sources to source water. You disagree with it, but it was still a communique done by the town official, and it was also something that was referred to in the TechnoRem report as well. So it's the TechnoRem report and an official communique against what you're saying.
I think you're very much aware that we've addressed that. You
didn't really address it. It's your opinion against what's written in the reports. We don't have a clarification there yet.
Okay, we've addressed that. Yes, I know exactly what you're referring to. We've all agreed that it was not very well, c'était pas bien libellé. Okay, that's for sure. What they meant in that comment is that the best place to find water, where you're going to find good quantities of water,
is there.
They're not saying they didn't. I know it was said in such a way that it raised a lot of questions, but it is not the last place we could be looking for water. It's just that if we were going to look for water at that time and we wanted to go drill where we're more than likely to find a really good source of water, that was the spot. But it's not the last spot. Okay. So, and we've discussed this, and so it was, let's just say it could have been written differently.
Okay, well, we'll agree to disagree on that one.
Okay, that's fine.
Another thing is that we do need a serious hydrology study of the whole area, especially with the new impingement on our water sources. The amount of people that signed the signature of residents of Saint-Lazare was 2,692 people, which represents 18% of the electorate. And they asked for 2 major things: a complete comprehensive hydrology study that we need beyond TechnoRem's essai de pompage of the 3 wells. And they also demanded a characterization study of the whole area as a zone, the whole west end as a complete area, because if you read in the reports of PACES and a lot of the environmental reports, the 5th area is next to, between St. Charles and Poirier-Harwood. Those are the main wetland concentration areas. What happens to the wetlands affects what happens in the 5th area and the aquifers. They're all interrelated. There's a symbiotic relationship between wetlands and aquifers. So doing just piecemeal studies, as Mrs. Bilodeau referred to, and I think Mrs. Turfloff referred to in the past, isn't sufficient. So I know you have limited budgets, but I don't see how you can justify, I don't know how you're thinking of removing, or if you're thinking of removing parts of the moratorium little by sections, or you're going to wait till everything is done before you allow development in the west end.
The one thing that you have to understand is, and in our conservation plan, it already there's a part of it that already states that there is zero encroachment on wetlands. Encroachment in English, right? There's zero encroachment on wetlands. That already exists in our conservation plan. So
what about the developments that are happening along St. Charles on the west end? That's all wetland, and they're starting to build there. And even the Verde project is on wetlands.
Sorry,
Place Verde is in wetlands.
Okay, sorry. East,
so you have the problem with Verde on the east side, which David Hill talked about before. But on the west side, you have there are little ones along the road right now that are being developed, just little ferments, I think, or an equestrian area. but what's protecting the area behind it? Because that zone used to be a long time ago all conservation, and then it was rezoned to Equest.
It was never zone conservation.
In the old maps, it was. I can pull them out. I have them.
Please do. I'd be very curious
Okay, I'll
to
show
see
them
it.
to you.
It's a comment we hear frequently.
But it's on your city maps. I'll bring them to City Hall for you this week.
I would appreciate that. Come and see me next week.
I will.
I'd like to see that
because
it was that area was not zone conservation. There was a zoning change, or it went from
conservation, I guess,
habitation to. There were phases,
okay.
but
I'll bring you the maps. I have them.
Yeah,
I have the
would love
city
to
maps.
see them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's things like that. When the whole area between St. Charles and Poirier, Harwood is zoned Equest, the potential to subdivide into 2-acre lots exists. That's the definition of an equestrian zone, and that's all wetlands. So that has us very worried, because what happens to the wetlands if they're developed is going to affect the recharge area. Also, we were worried about the recharge area before. The taux de recharge regional of the aquifers is 29%, which is higher than 20% by the government. So they're very exploited already. On top of it, we're getting the new hospital. I'm losing my train of thought. I'm so nervous. What really people signed the petition for is because they're worried about that. And if there's the recharge area from St. Charles to the 201, that's furbishing most of the water in Saint-Lazare, in the sense that the wells on St. Angelique, the 9 wells, those supply 80% of the water used by the aqueducts in Saint-Lazare. They're reaching maximum potential, so they're coming to the 3 new wells in our section. So those 3 new wells will be, in essence, servicing 80% of Saint-Lazare. So when you have that much of an importance and stress put on a recharge area, because we're the main recharge area, because we're the most permeable, we're on sand, and we're also the less developed, it should be even more protected because of that, and especially with the infringement of a new hospital coming. And it seems like you guys aren't realizing the importance of the area and the water that affects all of Saint-Lazare, not just the Fief area.
You've made your point. Thank you.
Okay.
I just want you to know, I think we do realize, I think we've shown, this council has shown at more than one occasion that, yes, we do take these issues very seriously. We're not just, saying, oh, do whatever you want and so on and so forth. So we are taking these issues very seriously. I think that the people at this table have taken the necessary steps to make sure that we do not screw up in the future.
We appreciate that.
And I think that at some point, and I understand your concern very well, and I think the hospital concern is a very good one.
Yeah.
We raised that red flag a couple of weeks ago as well. Your concerns are all very legitimate. I just want to reassure you, I can't talk for future councils, but I can reassure you that this one takes all these issues very, very seriously.
Okay. It's just it accentuates even more the importance of keeping the recharge area as less developed as possible, because of all the extra forces that are pulling on it, especially a hospital. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. On va prendre un petit break, Madame Reynaud. Est-ce que c'est nécessaire un vote pour ça? Non. Parce que oui, c'est nécessaire. Donc, adjournment, un vote, s'il vous plaît.
Pour.
On revient dans quelques...
On prend un break parce qu'on revient avec la période de questions Internet qui va arriver. Il faut lire les questions.